Hello everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to talk about how to make a sales call. Hello my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where my job is to help make you the best possible entertainer that you can be. In today's video, we're going to do another Advice for Professionals segment where we talk about the world of being a professional magician, sales, marketing, how to deal with clients, and all of that good stuff. We're going to handle sales calls in this video specifically. Now, when I say sales calls, I'm not talking about cold calling. I'm not talking about trying to grab leads and bring them in. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. What I'm talking about specifically is you already have the lead generated. You're going to get them on the phone. You're going to talk to them and close it, right? So they've already sent you an email, they've already visited your website, they filled out your contact form for a free quote, all that good stuff, right? So we're gonna get the client on the phone and we're gonna talk to them about their event, find out some more information about what they're looking for, explain to them a little bit about what we do, and then talk about pricing and all that good stuff. So we're gonna do all of that in this video right here, right after these announcements. So if you have not already done so, please make sure to click that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you know every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to support the channel for just $1 a month, consider clicking that join button and become a Mob Squad member. Members will get access to a bunch of really cool stuff, including tutorials, early access to videos, emojis, badges, and even discounts at O'Brien Magic Shop. All of that for just $1 a month. I'll even shout you out right here on the channel. So let's go ahead and give a nice warm welcome to Brian Hall. Beautiful client of mine, by the way. Buys a lot of stuff at O'Brien Magic Shop. Huge shout out to you, Brian. Thank you so much. We have Mark Ringel and Scott Lewis. Thank to all of you guys, all of my subscribers, all of my Mob Squad members, and everyone else that just watches all of my videos at home. For all of the love and support. It really means a lot to me. It's because of you guys that I'm able to keep this channel going. So if you are watching all of my videos and you haven't pulled the trigger on either that subscribe or join button yet, consider doing so and help continuing to support the channel. All right, so let's talk about sales calls. Now in this video, we're gonna break it down into 4 different parts, right? We have the initial greeting, we have the qualifying questions, we have the pitch, and we have the close. So we're going to talk about what each individual part of that means and how I actually handle this live when I'm making a sales call, right? Our goal on these calls is to be very friendly, welcoming, warming. We want them to know that we're going to take good care of them. We're going to take good care of their guests, right? We want to let them know exactly what we do. We want to make sure that we're letting them know that we're going to be there for them and all of this stuff, right? The last thing that we want to do is trick them into closing or, being like a used car salesman type, like, hey, buddy, I'm going to go ahead and take you to the back here and I'm going to show you how this car works and you're going to love it. You're going to buy this car. And the person's like, I don't really think that that's the car for me. Ah, come on, buddy. What are you talking about? This is the best car in the world. Like, we're not going to do any of that stuff, right? We want to be a salesperson without being a salesperson, if that makes sense. Because what I've learned over the years is if you talk to your clients like a person, right, and not just a way into their wallet, they're going to build a lot more trust, rapport, and respect for you that way. And it's just going to be a lot easier to actually book the gigs. And we don't want to just book a gig, go in, and bada bing, bada boom, do the show, and then like get the heck out of there, right? We want to build a relationship with our clients, right? So that we don't just do this one event. We want to do this event for them. Then maybe we want to have them refer us to their friends, or maybe they want to book us again for another show, right? Perfect example. I'll go ahead and leave this testimonial right here up on the screen so you guys can see it for yourself. This is a client that I just booked a few weeks back. And this is the 3rd show now this month, this year, excuse me. This is the 3rd time this year that I've actually done events for them. They've referred me out to their friends and stuff. I've done another event for another friend of theirs. So taking care of your clients and just going above and beyond for them is really going to build a strong relationship with them, and they are going to want to have you over and over and over again, right? And this is genuine. I'm not talking about any sales tricks or anything like that, right? This is just genuine. So having said that, now I'm going to break down the sales call for you guys. I'm going to structure it in such a way that it's easy for you to flow through so that your thoughts are not all jumbled, right? Flow through the call, lead it to where it needs to go, which is the close, right? So let's talk about these things again, right? Step number 1 is the initial greeting. This is just the part where you give them a call. Hello, this is Michael O'Brien from o'brienmagic.com. May I speak with Susan, please? And then, hi, this is Susan, right? Hello, Susan. Are you having a good day today so far? Yeah, today's going well. Oh, awesome, awesome. I just wanted to let you know that I received your request for a magician on X date at X time. I was wondering if you have just a few minutes to chat. And then they say yes, right? So essentially all you're doing there is you're letting them know who you are, you're letting them know why you're calling them, and most importantly, you're making sure that they have time, right? Because you don't want to be on the call for like 10 minutes and then halfway through they're like, I have to go pick up my daughter from school now. Can I call you back later? Because that is like the quickest way to lose the sale. Because what I've noticed that ends up happening is if you don't close the sale, at least right there on the spot, the chances of closing it start to go downhill, right? Now, having said that, that's not always the case. Of course, they can call back later when they have more time and they can actually get them on the phone, right? But there was a company that I was going to get in touch with and actually do like a yacht thing for like 4 hours. It was going to be like a high ticket event that I was going to try to close. And I just couldn't get a hold of the HR person that I needed to get a hold of the book because they were always busy. So I did my best to work with their schedule and everything like that. But sometimes, you know what, the gig's just going to slip away. It just happens. So what you want to do is you want to try to get them on the phone during a time that they have time to talk, right? And you don't have to be on the phone for hours. I'm talking like a 15-minute, a sales call should be about 15 minutes. It shouldn't be any longer than that, right? So how do I do this, right? Step 1, initial greeting. Already talked about that. Let's just say now you've warmed up to them. You talked about the weather, like, oh yeah, it's so nice outside and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And you shot the breeze with them and you have about 15 minutes to tag. Oh yeah, I got plenty of time. Awesome, cool. So now we're going to jump into qualifying questions. In this specific situation, you want to find out a couple things. You want to find out, number 1, are my services going to work for what they want, right? And number 2, you want to find out exactly what it is that they want. So in your mind, you can put together the perfect package for them, right? Let's just say you're a corporate magician. You do trade shows, right? You do banquet events, company holiday parties, and someone calls you and they're like, hey, we're looking for magic for like a 3 to 5-year-old age group of kids for a little one's birthday party. And you don't do birthday parties. Now you know right off the bat, without wasting all of their time and going through the whole spiel, that you don't actually do children's birthday parties. And maybe you can refer them out to a friend, maybe give their contact information to someone else. That goes a long way, by the way. If you can't close the gig because you're not right for them, but you know someone else that will be right for them, pass that information to that other person, because what that tells the client is that though they didn't give you any money and they didn't close with you, that you are willing to go above and beyond and show that excellent customer service and help them. So maybe when it comes time to refer someone for that company holiday party, or maybe their boss says, hey, do you know any magicians? They weren't going to book you for their kid's birthday party, but they do know the magician that they want to book for their company holiday party coming up, right? So it's really important, if you're not going to close the deal with them, to still be helpful, still help them find the perfect event for them and all of that good stuff, because that goes a long way to showing that you're a team player and that you're willing to help them. Like I said, this whole treating them like a person thing, not just like, oh, you don't have any money? Well, go away, buddy, right? We don't want to be that salesperson. We want to be someone that's willing to help them out. So qualifying questions, right? Essentially at this point, I let them do most of the talking for me, and then I ask questions as necessary. So I don't ask a bunch of questions. I simply say, what kind of event are you having and what kind of entertainment are you interested in having for your event, right? So they talk about, oh, well, we're having this birthday party. It's a big family get together. We're having a bunch of people over. It's going to be at my house. I'm thinking like 30 or 40 people are going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of kids. There's going to be a bunch of parents, right? We're going to have dinner at this time and we're going to do this. And I actually have an Elvis impersonator coming in that's going to sing like rock and roll songs at one point. And I just thought it would be fun to have a magician. Okay. So now, great. I know that they want a magician. I know that it's a house party. I know that there's going to be a certain amount of people there. I know the demographic of people that are going to be there. It's going to be like family friendly, kids, adults, all that stuff. So now I need to find out a little bit more about what they want specifically. And keep in mind, this might be their first time booking a magician. So maybe they don't even know what they want. All they know is that they saw a magician on America's Got Talent, and they thought it would be so cool to have a magician at their party. So now I'll ask them, okay, so were you thinking about having like a formal show where maybe we have the whole family gather in the living room, or maybe in the backyard, you have some space set with tables and chairs, and I stand up in the front of the stage and I do a show for everybody. Maybe the guest of honor comes up and helps me and all that stuff. Or were you thinking something a little bit more casual where I kind of just show up and I kind of mingle with everybody, I roam around the event, and I do tricks for smaller groups of people one at a time rather than a whole show for everybody, right? So now they'll tell me what they want. Maybe they want strolling. Maybe they want a formal show. Maybe they want a little bit of both, right? Maybe they want like a 15-minute thing for everybody, and then they want me to roam around for the rest of the party. So I'm getting all of this information for them, right? Now, it's time to move on to the pitch. We've already greeted them. We're very friendly. We're welcoming, warming, all that good stuff. We're building rapport with them. We've moved on to the qualifying questions. We've let them talk about what they want. And we've asked follow-up questions to make sure that the services that we're going to provide are for them, right? And all of that good stuff. So now the next step is the pitch, okay? So the pitch is going to essentially be, you're going to explain to them the services that you feel would be best for their event, right? So, Susan, I've noticed that you said that you wanted, that you're having this big party, there's gonna be like 30 or 40 people there and all that stuff. What about this? I think that maybe doing some kind of formal show or something would be very beneficial for your family, right? We could do like a 15, 20, 30-minute show. It's completely up to you how long the show is. And then maybe after the show, while people are kind of going around and getting drinks and grabbing finger foods and all of this stuff, maybe I just go around and mingle for another hour for people that maybe wanted to see more magic, or maybe people that didn't get to participate during the magic show, right? I can go around, I can mingle with them, I can spend more time with the kids, I can go around to the adults that didn't get to see the show because maybe they were busy dealing with their kids, right? So this is the types of things that I think would be best for your event. What do you think about that? And again, I let them talk, right? I let them talk about what they think would be best. Yes, I agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. And then I say, okay, well, what did you think then maybe instead? And blah, blah, blah. And you let them kind of talk, right? So you kind of go back and forth and you figure out what will be best for their event, right? This is the whole pitch now. You're putting together the services that you're going to perform for them. Now, let's just say they agree. You know what? I think that this would be best. Now we're going to move on to the close. And the close is the thing that I think a lot of magicians stress out about the most, or a lot of salespeople in general stress out about the most, because in the close step, this is essentially the negotiating step. This is where we're going to tell them, okay, you want this, this, and this? Well, this is how much you have to pay for this, this, and this, okay? I did a whole video about upsells and downsells, so I don't want to talk too much about negotiating tactics in this video. I'll leave a link in the description below to that video so you guys can see how I negotiate, how I try to upsell people, what to do if they can't afford your packages that you're pitching them, and all of this stuff, right? So let's just say you've done the pitch, they love everything about you, right? And so now you're at the closing moment. This is how I close, okay? I say, all right, so it sounds like you love this, this, and this idea, okay? This is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna put together a package bundle. These are my normal rates, right? Since you want to do this, this, and this, I'm going to bundle those together for you, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a deal, okay? So normally per hour, my strolling is $500 an hour, flat rate. If I'm there 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, doesn't matter, $500 an hour, right? My show sounded like you wanted the 30-minute show. That show is also $500 for 30 minutes, right? Of me just doing magic for everybody. Now, sounds like from what I'm hearing you say, you wanted me to do like a 15 to 20 minute show and you wanted me to roam around for about an hour, maybe 2 hours after that, right? So what I'm willing to do is for $1,200, 2 hours of strolling magic and that 20-minute show for you, right? So you're saving about 300 bucks. Or for $800, I can do the 20, 30-minute show and 1 hour of strolling after. How does that sound for you? They're either going to say one of two things. They're either going to pick one of those options and book you, and that's it. You closed them. Congrats. Or they're going to say, it's a little bit outside of our budget. So this is where I think that there are two schools of thought when it comes to being a salesperson. One school of thought is you give them the budget up front, or you find out what their budget is during the qualifying questions stage, so that you know whether or not they're going to be able to afford your services from the outset, right? That way you don't waste your time. You're not pitching a $1,200 package to a $150 client, right? There's that school of thought. And the other school of thought, which is a school of thought that I lean more into, is get them excited about what it is that they're going to buy and then tell them how much it's going to cost at the end so that they're already excited about it, so that when they hear the price, you know, they're more willing to maybe go with that price because they really want the thing, right? It would be like if I walked up to you and I said, you know, would you like to buy a cookie? And they're like, oh, sure, yeah, how much is the cookie? Oh, well, the cookie is 10 bucks. Like $10 for a cookie? I don't want to buy a cookie for $10. And now they're already disinterested, right? But if I bring them in and I say, hey, so I actually have some cookies for sale. These are really incredible. They're huge. They're like this big, right? Professionally made by some of the best chefs in the world. You have a variety of different options to choose from. Which options do you like the best? I have this, right? And you go through the whole thing and then you get to the end and okay, so if you want this cookie, that's $10 for that cookie. Or if you buy three, it's $25 for 3 cookies instead. So I can kind of do like a little bundle deal for you, right? They're going to be more inclined to be like, yeah, I'll pay $10 or $25 for 3 cookies because they know what they're getting. They're excited about it. Oh man, that cookie looks so good, right? They're professionally made. They understand, right? It's not just $10 for some cookie that they don't know anything about. So that's why I lean more into the second school of thought, which is get them hyped up and excited about the thing first, and then at the end, when you're doing the close, then giving them the pricing and all that stuff. So that's how I like to do it. So like I said, they're either going to close you or they're going to say, I'm not too comfortable with that price, right? Let's just say that they're not too comfortable with that price. Like I said, there's a link in the description below to like what to do when people say that they can't really afford your product or whatever. So I don't want to talk too much about that in this video, but what I will say is that handling objections is part of the closing process. So in this case, they have an objection, and their objection seems to be, I can't really afford that. I don't have a budget for it. So my response to them would be like, it sounds like you're really excited about what I'm offering you, but it sounds like you're worried about the price, right? So if I was able to come down on the price a little bit, but knowing that you really want to book me, would that be helpful for you? And then they'll say, oh my goodness, yes. And then I'll say, okay, so here's what I'll do. I offer another package, right? I have an expert at the card table package where I just show up and I just do card magic, right? That's all I do. Card magic for 20 minutes at the table. That package is normally $350, okay? And if you want me to also do strolling and mingling at the event, I'll happily do the strolling and mingling and all of that stuff, right? Like I said, it's normally $500 per hour for that. I'll do a bundle deal where I'll do the expert at the card table package for 20 minutes. I just do card magic to get everyone kind of excited. And then I'll roam around and I'll do some mingling stuff for an hour for $600. So I've gone from $800 to $600. That's $200 off. And you're essentially getting the same amount of time. The services are a little bit different. It's easier on me because I'm just going to show up and whatever's in my pockets is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to bring my big old briefcase. I'm not going to bring my setup. I'm not going to bring all the bells and whistles. I'm just going to do the card tricks, and then I'm going to just roam around and do like sponge balls, card tricks, and like linking rings, right? So it's easier for me. There's less stuff for me to have to cart around and get set up and all that stuff. As soon as I'm done, I can just leave. I don't have to take 20 to 30 minutes to pack everything up, right? So it's easier for me, and it saves the client $200. So I'll come back with that. And then they'll say, that's still not within my price range. If that happens, now I'm going to ask them, well, what is your budget? What were you thinking about spending to have me there at your event? Whatever number they come up with, you need to make a decision whether or not you feel that it's justified to have them pay you that price, right? Like for me personally, I won't leave my house for anything less than $300. That's just my personal price. To get me to drive all the way out to Newport, 2-hour drive in traffic, to then be there for 2 hours doing magic and then sit in 2 more hours of traffic on the way home. I don't want to have to deal with all that for anything less than $300, right? So let's just say they say, well, we were hoping you would do it for like, you know, 200, 250, 300, whatever, right? Knowing that I don't want to leave for anything less than $300, I'll tell them, I'll say, you know what then? This is what I can do for you. For $350, I can show up at your event and I can do my Expert at the Card Table show. The full show, 30 minutes. It's high energy magic. It's still great. It's not anything worse than my other show. The only reason it's a little bit more affordable is because, like I said, I don't have to bring all the bells and whistles. I just show up with a deck of cards and I go. And it's easy for me, right? I show up, I go, I bring my table, I take my table with me and I go home. So $350 for 30 minutes, that's the best I could do. That's the best offer that I can make, right? They're either going to bite or they're not. They're either going to be like, you know what? I can't do that. I can't commit to that much money. Thank you so much for your time anyway. And if that extra $100 is going to break the bank for them, then there's no closing them, right? Unless you're willing to do all of that work for the $250 that they want to book you for. But chances are 9 times out of 10, keep in mind, you went from a $1,200 package to a $500 package, I'm sorry, a $1,200 package to an $800 package, from the $800 package to a $600 package. Chances are they're probably going to book the $600 package, even if their budget is like $300 or $400, because they're like, oh man, the magician is doing all of this stuff, even though he could have charged me $1,200, he came all the way down to $600. He gave me a 50% discount to be there for about the same amount of time and almost do the same amount of stuff in their mind, right? So they're like, you know what? Let's just do the $600. $400 is my budget, but whatever. Let's just do the $600, right? And if their budget was like $200, $250, chances are they're probably going to book you at that $350 package where you just show up and you just do card magic at the table for 30 minutes and then you take off, right? So the close is all about hyping them up, getting them all about, you know, what they want to do, so that when you get to the closed portion, it's really easy for you to sell it because they already want what you're offering, right? 9 times out of 10, if I ever don't close someone, it's simply because they couldn't handle the price. And that's totally fine. There are people that want entertainment and they are financially struggling, especially in these times during COVID. You know, that extra $150, $200 that they were going to spend on the magician could have gone to buying a bouncy castle for the kids, or buying the guest of honor a gift, or whatever, right? So I completely get it, and I do not shame my clients at all for lowballing me, because I understand, right? They want a good deal. But what you need to understand is sometimes you just have to accept that you're not going to be able to close that client. Now, that $250 client, I ain't going to go do $250 gig, but what I can tell them is I'll be like, you know what? I have students that are studying to become professional magicians. They're not quite there yet. They're great magicians, but they're not professional magicians. They don't do this for a living. They don't go out and book gigs or whatever. If you can commit to $250 to pay that person, I'm sure that that would be so awesome for them. One of their first gigs to go out and actually start booking shows and stuff. Do you feel comfortable with that? If that's the case, I can refer you to someone that'll do the gig for $250. But again, disclaimer, they're not a professional working magician, right? They're a great magician, but they're not a professional, so you just have to keep that in mind. You'll be like one of their first gigs. Sometimes they'll bite and they'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Like, we have no problem with that. Like, just someone to come hang out. Like, even if it's Uncle Terry that knows a couple card tricks, that's kind of just what we want, you know, blah, blah, blah. Now, if they want the professional show, if they want Michael O'Brien from Penn and Teller Fool Us, obviously they have to pay what my rate is, right? So it all kind of depends on what their budget is, what they have in mind, all of that good stuff, right? Just to put it into perspective, I was booking a gig where someone wanted a 30-minute show and an hour of me staying afterwards to do balloons. And I was going to charge them like $500 for that, right? So an hour and a half of my time to be there doing magic and balloons, $500. Yeah, it's $500. It's a lot of money, but it's not outrageously ridiculous for almost 2 hours of my time to pack up, to tear down, to be there to make balloons for the kids. The kids are going to pop the balloons and I'm going to make extra ones. So I already know I'm going to be there for longer than an hour making balloons, right? Plus the 30-minute show and all of that stuff. So she says, okay, well, let me think about it. 9 times out of 10, let me think about it means I can't afford you. I'm going to go look elsewhere for a better deal. So that's why when I'm in the close portion of the sale, I say, well, if money wasn't the problem, would you book me? And 9 times out of 10, they say yes. So I try to work with them financially. But then she came back and she was like, hey, so I found someone that's going to do 3 hours of magic, balloons, face painting, party games. They're going to set this up. They have a team of people that are going to come in and all that stuff for $150. And I was just like, book them. I cannot compete with that. Like, because her next thing was going to be like, well, what can you do for me? Like, no, I can't do anything for $150. $300 is my lowest, and that's just for me to show up and do the kids' show. No balloons, no anything extra, right? Just doing the show. If you're getting a show, balloons, face painting, party games, and all that stuff for $150, more power to you. Go and book that, right? Sometimes just knowing that the client is getting a good deal or whatever, you know, if that makes them happy, Godspeed to the client. I'm not gonna do the whole, you're gonna regret it because they're gonna show up and they're gonna be terrible, because I don't know that. Maybe they're the best magician ever, but they're only charging $150 because that's what they want to charge people, right? They don't care about making a bunch of money. They just love doing what they do, and that money supplements them every month to pay the bills or whatever, right? So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, in my personal opinion. I know a lot of magicians are like, you're bringing down the market, but you know what? I'm still booking gigs. There are $150 Andes out there that are doing like 8 hours of walk around for $150 all over the place here in Los Angeles, and I'm still closing $12, $15, $2,000 gigs because I'm talking to my clients. They know that they can trust me. They know that they can take care of me. They've seen the videos. They've seen the reviews, you know, all of this stuff. The way that I talk to them on the phone, they know that they can trust me. They build that rapport with me, and they know that I'm going to be the best thing possible for their guests, for their event, and they just know that I'm going to take care of them. So they go ahead and they book me because they know that I'm going to be worth it. So as a professional magician, number one, out of anything, if you've not listened to anything that I said in this video, the one thing that I want you guys to take home from all of this is that it is your job to make the client happy and to know that they are in good hands when it comes to booking their entertainment for their event, okay? So, having said all of that, thank you so much for watching this whole video. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell. That way you guys know every time I put out a new video. And if you'd like to see some more magic, be sure to visit o'brienmagic.com, where you'll find some of the latest and greatest magic books, downloads, and accessories.